Hi everyone, this is Crystal Villa, and in this video I'm gonna show you how to install the music app into a fresh Ubuntu server. I'm gonna be using Digital Ocean for this tutorial, but you can use basically any hosting provider. Okay, so once you have downloaded the app, this is the zip file that you're gonna get music app bundle. So the first thing you have to do is just unzip it, and then you're gonna get this folder right here. The folder includes the documentation. All you have to do is just open the index.html file, and here are all the instructions you need to install um, the app. In this tutorial, I'm gonna be showing you how to use the installer. It comes with a wizard that you can use to enter all your details and everything you need. So let's start by creating a new droplet right here. So you're gonna, after you logging into DigitalOcean, you're going to create a new droplet, which is right here. You're gonna click in here, and after that it's gonna take you to a new page where you're gonna be able to select the droplet that you want to create. And for this tutorial, we're gonna use a specific image. DigitalOcean has many software already installed into an image that you can just use, and then we don't have to install everything from scratch. Okay, so for that we're gonna use the lem stack. Alright, so I'm gonna look for lem, which L stands for Linux, Nginx, MySQL, and PHP. So this is the droplet we're gonna be using. If you click in the details, you're gonna see all the data for this specific image, which, as you can see here, we're gonna have MySQL 5 and PHP 7.2, which is the minimum version we need to have in order to run the app. So yeah, we're good to go. And the next thing, yeah, in here you can select any of the available droplets. I'm just gonna go for the cheapest one, which is 1 gigabyte. That's more than enough for a small website, but if you have more traffic, then you would select any of the available, probably 3 gigabytes of RAM or whatever you need. After that, you need to select the data center you're gonna install your app, or yeah, basically that. So in my case, I'm gonna go for New York, but if you are in Europe, you might choose London, Frankfurt, or yeah, any of the availables. I don't need VPC. Yeah, for authentication is the next thing. I'm gonna click here monitoring, because this is gonna give you some data from your droplets, such as memory usage, CPU, and a couple other things. The next thing you're going to select is how you're going to log into your droplet. The easiest way is to have just SSH keys set up, but if you don't have that, or you have no idea what is that, just go for password. And in here, for now, I'm just going to select something here. There you go. Oh, I need something here. So this is going to be my password. Alright, for my droplet, I'm just gonna keep it right here. Make sure to just use a secure password. In here, I'm just gonna set the name of the server. In this case, it's gonna be music app. You can create many droplets at once. For this example, I'm just going to create a single one, and yeah, you can select a project. I'm just gonna, this is like a folder where you're gonna store your droplet. Enable backup, no thank you, but no. And after that, all you have to do is just run the installer, and this is going to install your new droplet. And yeah, all we need to do is we just need to wait. And let's go back to the zip file. I was talking about that documentation right here, but also you'll find this file, which is called Music App 2.0, which this is the actual source code that we need in order to run the application. Alright, it comes with everything you need, so you don't really need to install anything else. Alright, so we do have the IP right here. So the next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna SSH into this droplet. So you have to go to your terminal, and then after that you're gonna run SSH root, and for some reason it's not working. Let me try again. Connection refused, I'm getting. Oh, I don't know what's wrong. Okay, probably it was just starting. So next thing, it's asking me for the password that I have it right here. Then I'm gonna just log in. Once we're here, the next thing you're gonna go is you're gonna go and take a look at the www folder, and we have HTML folder in there, which is basically like a welcome page. So if we open our droplet right now, we'll get this page right here, which is basically a welcome message to your new droplet. So everything is running right now. You have MySQL, Nginx, and PHP. If we do PHP -v, we're running PHP 7.2, which that's pretty good. So the next thing you're gonna do is you need to upload the file, upload the software, and for that I'm just gonna use this SFTP client. So you need to define. You can use anyone you have. I'm using CyberDuck. I really like this one, and yeah, I'm gonna use root, and I need to use the password in here. Make sure it select SSH file transfer protocol, and just connect, and it's going to connect to the server right here. We don't have anything there, so we're going to upload the zip file to our www folder right here. Alright, so we only have HTML. So yeah, all I'm gonna do is I'm going to upload this thing, and it's gonna ask for my password, which is that one right there. There you go, login, and it's going to upload everything, but my network is apparently we need to wait for 3 minutes, so I'm gonna go ahead and stop the video, and yeah, I'm going to restart once everything is there. So yeah, welcome back. The file is already uploaded, so we are ready to start the installation. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to create a new directory, just by doing this, and I'm gonna call it music app, and then I'm gonna move the zip file into the new folder music app. Okay, so then I'm gonna do music app, and then I'm gonna unzip it. There you go, but unfortunately we don't have this utility installed, so all we have to do is apt install unzip. So this is going to install the new this utility to basically unzip the folder right here. So there you go, now it works, and as you can see, everything it's right here. Alright, so the next thing you're gonna do is you definitely need to set the right permissions to this folder, so Nginx would be able to access this folder and also read and write and execute the PHP files. So for that, if you see the HTML folder belongs to the www data user, so that's what we're gonna do, and for that we're gonna do something like chown change owner -r, and then we need to define the folder. Alright, so what we're doing, if we do ls fla music, now we can see everything everything belongs to the www data user, which means Nginx is going to be able to access these files. Alright, so the next thing we gotta do is we gotta go and look at the Nginx files, sites available, and if you take a look in here, we do have two configuration files. One is for default and Digital Ocean. So we're gonna use the Digital Ocean as base. As you can see here, the configuration is already here. So the root folder for this specific virtual server is pointing to the HTML folder, but instead of that, we want to use the music app public, and this is documented in the docs. The next thing you're gonna do, let's take a look at the documentation that I have in here. This is all you have to do. Come setting up the database, setting up right here. As you can see, you need to point to the public, and the other thing you have to do, we can also, while we are already here, we can select the maximum megabytes per file that we're gonna allow users to upload. Okay, so in this case it's gonna be 200 megabytes, right? So we can upload large MP3 files later on. Lastly, we need to define this line right here, which this is basically a way to make Laravel works, right? Because Laravel needs to redirect all the requests to the index HTML with the query parameters, so Laravel actually runs. That's all we need to do. We don't need to do anything else. So we quit and save. Next thing is just make sure everything is right. So Nginx-D, take a look at all the configuration files and validates that there's nothing wrong in there. So apparently there's nothing wrong. So the next thing is we need to restart, and we do this by systemctl restart Nginx. Alright, so now if we come back, we'll see that this is resolving. Excellent, but we don't have any data, right? Like if we go here or here, we won't get anything, right? Because we still need to set up the database and everything else. And so for that, we're gonna open the installer, which is /installer, and this is going to guide you through all the configurations you need to install this software. Alright, so as you can see here, I'm available. If anything goes wrong, you can send me a message through my Code Canyon profile page, and I'm usually available during the week. I'm offline on weekends, so don't expect me to answer weekends. Alright, so the requirements. We do have PHP 7.2, which is good. We have OpenSSL, PDO, like everything except these two. So we need to install that. We're gonna use apt install PHP 7.2 dash mv string and PHP 2.7. 7.2 GD, which is for images. So after that, it's gonna ask you if you wanna install this, and you say yes, and it's going to install the requirements. Make sure everything is in green. If any of this is also missing, make sure to install it. All you have to do is just append at the beginning PHP 7, the version of the PHP you're using, which in this case is 7.2, then dash, then the package that you want to install. In this case it was GD and mv string. So it's completed. So let's go back, let's go next, and now we have everything green, so we can proceed to the next. Next one, and this is permission, is gonna check if we have 755 in each folder, and also this make sure this folder are the PHP it's able to write. So yeah, it's right. We're able to write, so this is good. And the next thing here is telling you that we only have 2 megabytes for upload files. And remember, we updated this value for Nginx, but we also need to update this value for PHP. So the installer is telling you the file that you need to update and the properties that you need to update right here. Okay, so we need to do beam, open our php.ini, and then we need to look for this property right here. So there you go, it's 2 megabytes. So we want something like maybe 200. We also need to update post max size, which is this is the maximum megabytes in the post request. So for this we're gonna do 208 megabytes. Then we're gonna close, and we need to restart the PHP engine, which in this case is FPM. So for that we do systemctl restart PHP 7.2 FPM. Sorry, FPM. There you go. So this restarts the FPM, and then we go back. Then as you can see, we have 128, and the reason for this is because there's another property that is considering it's the maximum memory available for PHP, and in this case, even though we defined 200 megabytes, we have only 128 megabytes available in memory processing. So therefore, even though we define 1 gigabyte, we also need to increase that, but 128 megabytes is more than enough. So the next thing we're gonna do is you need to configure your application for production and debugging no. If you are installing this in your development environment, then you will define this as local and then yes, but given that this is a production build, we're defining that. If you're using a domain, also you are going to define this domain in here, right? Like musicapp.com, whatever it is. All right, and also if you're using HTTPS, then you should define the S in here. But for now, I'm not gonna do that. Also, you can configure the file system that you're gonna use to store all the MP3 files, all the images, the art for the album, user profile images, everything. By default, we can use the local disk, or you can use Amazon S3. And if you prefer to use Amazon S3, because I definitely recommend you to use it, because this is a CDN, it's optimized, and you can have like different data centers around the globe, so it's gonna be faster for your users. But anyway, this is more advanced. This data, once you create an account on Amazon SW, I mean S3, you're gonna get this data, which is the key, ID, secret key, bucket, and the region. All this data, you get it from Amazon. Alright, S3. So for now, we're gonna go with local disk. So then we click next, and this is the database. Alright, so we don't have a database for the music at this point. So we need to define that. If we come back to the documentation, creating the database in here, yeah, let's log into the database. And to do that, we need to get the password, right? So the password is located at the root folder, and as you can see here, it's Digital Oceal password. Here it is. So I'm just gonna copy this, and I'm gonna log into my MySQL as the root, and the password. There you go. We can take a look at the current databases. You see, we don't have a database for that, so we're going to create a new one, and we're gonna call it music. There you go. Create it, and before leaving, we need to create a user. so we can connect to this database, because we shouldn't connect using using root. That's not very secure. So testing 1 2 3, this is going to be my password. Obviously you guys should create a more secure password, and this is going to be the name of your new user. So I'm going to create music user. Alright, so make sure not to forget these credentials. Alright, so there you go. Now let's go back to the installer and let's define the database. It was called music user, and testing 1 2 3, bang, and we can click test connection, connected successfully. So that means our credentials are fine. The next thing is your SMTP, and this is required if you want to send emails, which I definitely recommend, because for authentication pages, if users forget password, they can retrieve their password by putting their email, and then the app is gonna send an email with a link where they can update their password. Alright, so this application support different services such as Mailgun. I like to use Mailgun. It's pretty good, and it's fairly cheap. So you need to get the domain and secret key from Mailgun, or if you're using Amazon Says or Spark Post, you need to get the data. For now, I'm not gonna define anything. Or if you have an SMTP server, you can define the host IP and everything that is required. I'm not gonna set up this at this moment, but anyway, the next thing is the email sender. So when we send emails, right, like welcome email, forget password email, all of that, they need to come from someone, right? So here you need to define the email you want to set. In my case, I'm going to define leaks.com because that's the name of my company, and I'm going to define the name, and that's gonna be me. There you go. And the next thing is in here you can create the administrator and user. So for this, I'm gonna go with admin.leaks.com, and I'm gonna do testing 1 2 3. There you go. If you already have a user created, and this is the case where you're running the installer for a second time because you're upgrading from a previous version, then you would create. You need to click that don't create an admin. Okay, and then it's gonna skip this step. Alright, so then we click next, and then we're ready. So I'm gonna go ahead and click the run installer, which is going to do everything. Yep, and as you can see here, it created the environment file, it generates a new key for generated password, it generated a new WP secret key. So everything it's created here for you. Alright, link, run migration for the database, create the user, set up the initial configuration, and remove the installer. This is very important because you don't want to have the installer, right? So that people can mess with your app. So I'm gonna head and click the go home, and here it is. We don't have any data at this point, that's why it's not loading anything. So I'm gonna log in with my user, which it was testing 1 2 3. Yeah, there you go. Login, and yeah, I'm in. As you can see here, now I have access to the admin module, and don't forget to come. The first thing you should do is just come to the configuration module right here, and in here you need to select. You can change the title of your app, the logo. You can upload a new logo. You can select the language. I only have English and Spanish, but if you want an additional language, just contact me. This is my email right here. And yeah, you can define different permissions. So I'm going to enable the users as authors, And yeah, from here, make sure to save. And the next time you restart this, then this is ready to go. All right. So yeah, that's all for today. If you have any question, or if something goes wrong, make sure to send an email through my Code Canyon profile, and I'll be happy to help you.